So here I am. We are with Brendon Burchard. Brendon, where are you, by the way?
I'm at home in Portland, Oregon, my friend.
Fantastic. Well, I'm sure it's a gorgeous day here in Los Angeles. I hope it's a beautiful day there. And this is a very exciting day for me because this is the kickoff of my Success Club System 1x3x5 group. And I couldn't be prouder and more honored to have somebody join me to kick this group off. As I have described to people, and right now we have a little over 6,000 people, close to 7,000 people, and some pending to come into the group. But the point of this group is not necessarily just motivation. It's not necessarily a place for coaches to share their best practices, but it is literally where we are going to forge a system whereby our coaches can reliably achieve Success Club. That means they help 3 people in any given month or every month, and eventually that's 1x3. And eventually that 1 helps 3 will be expanded to that 1x3 helps 5 of their personally sponsored coaches also achieve 1x3, which frankly, which we were surprised to do some analysis, not that many coaches achieve, but it can be literally a geometric growth in our business and in the coach's business and their productivity if they can achieve this Success Club every month and helping 5 personally sponsored coaches achieve that too. Now, I will be honest with everybody. My goal here is that this month I want to make sure that everybody in this group does what it takes to achieve Success Club themselves, and if possible, helps 5 people achieve 1 Success Club point or adds 1 challenger in there. Because we're going to build this thing until our summit. We're going to build this system, build the activities, and learn what it takes. What are the obstacles standing in the way of a coach having the ultimate productivity? And what's so great about having you here, look, for anybody who doesn't know, Brendon was a speaker last year at Summit, and we're super proud. Just had people on the floor both laughing and inspired at the same time, and they took out some real great tactics to use as they took their business off into the second half of the year last year. But one of the things that I love about Brendon and what you do with your business is, first off, you were not a guy who inherited a fortune. You come from humble beginnings, and you've had to build this empire, really, this incredibly successful and positive business by helping other people build their businesses. And really from what I've noticed, you've studied what separates high-performance people from people who aren't achieving their potential. And in fact, I understand that your new book, High Performance Habits, is the Wall Street Journal bestseller. It's one of the best business books on Amazon. And I'll make a special announcement at the end of this little call here about who we're going to give that book to. But first off, thanks for joining us on here. Now it's your turn to talk. Like I said, I'm going to talk the whole time. We're just going to look at your face.
Hey, listen, I love this. And, I count you as an extremely, unbelievably inspiring leader for the people that you lead, for your business. You built a brand unlike any other in your entire space. It's unbelievably just to watch. And I also love Beachbody. Everyone knows it. I count many of the leaders and the best folks there as friends and students. And I also had the opportunity to take P90X when I was in college, and it makes me look so good, but I'm a huge fan of everything Beachbody does. And I remember just the other day, I was texting you. I can't find my phone right now, but I remember I texted you and I said, hey, look, as we were texting, I said, I just took Energize, like literally had just taken it. And then you and I were texting. So I'm a huge fan of the product and the business overall, but most importantly, just the people. So it's an honor to be here.
Well, one of the things that I loved, and we haven't really taken advantage of it yet, is the fact that in preparation for Summit, you and your team did all this analysis to really understand what are Team Beachbody coaches, what do they do, and what sets the productive ones apart from the ones who are not as productive. And that's really what I want to get into here today, because looking at the analysis that you shared with me, it became really clear that that just a few tweaks could help some people break apart, sort of, break the orbit, break from gravity, and really soar with this business. Can you just describe what you found?
Yeah, I think it's something people probably inherently know when they think about their work week. They know they can be more productive. They know they can be more structured. They know that if they just put a little bit more diligence and intention and work in, they could achieve extraordinary things. They already know that in their heart. And the good news is the data proved it over and over and over. We saw it. We measured thousands of your coaches, and it was so clear between the best, the highest earners, and those who were struggling, there were such dramatic differences in their productivity, in the clarity that they had, in their willingness to go out and try to persuade and influence other people. But the good news, none of it was like, well, she's so much better than me, or he's so much, more profoundly capable. It was like little tweaks that they could make in their week to dramatically increase their productivity. And everyone knows if you increase your productivity, you're going to increase your wealth, especially at Beachbody. So it's just getting in the game more consistently and diligently, and making sure that as you know what to do each week, you're also avoiding all the things that steal away from that.
Yeah.
And so we can learn a lot of tactics. We can talk about that here too as well.
Yeah. Now, the one thing I want to just check with you, and I think I know the answer. One of the findings was not necessarily full-time versus part-time.
That's right.
So there are people who are watching this who are like, well, look, I can never compete with your top coaches because they're doing it full-time and I'm just doing it part-time. That was not one of the things you discovered, right?
Right. Here's what was interesting. Age, gender, where they lived, how much experience they already had doing it or not. Those things weren't necessarily directly correlated with their actual income. And so we often say, well, I'm not old enough, or, I haven't been doing this for 50 years, or I don't do it full-time or part-time. It's like, actually, those things aren't the needle movers. The needle movers is your ability to be productive each week towards the things that matter, and making sure that you're working on those, just like cranking on the things that actually lead to results in your business, which everyone knows, but they get so distracted.
Yeah. And
sometimes that distraction is the distraction of doubt. I don't believe in myself, so I guess I won't make that call. I don't feel good today, so I guess I'll just, I'll get to it tomorrow. And sometimes the doubt is the real distraction. And we have to ask, okay, how are you dealing with that? One of the things we learn from high performers is that they just respond better when they're fatigued, or they doubt themselves, or they do get interrupted. Their response is much more towards the positive. They don't turn into the victim and say, oh, well, I guess I'm not capable, or something's wrong with me. They say, oh, what's the best way to respond to this to get myself back on track and keep going? And I know that's so simple, but if everybody's watching this, if you just thought about, okay, the last 7 days, how did I respond when I got tired or rejected or didn't feel good? Did I make reasons to stop? Or did I say, who needs me on my A game right now? I mean, who really needs me to be of service right now? My family needs me to get right back in the game. My personal ambitions and my goals, my bank account, it needs me to get back in the game. And just being honest about it, saying, you know what, there's lots of things that derail us. Let's get back on being structured and routine just enough to get the results we deserve. And that's something everybody can do. This isn't like you have to have a certain personality, because personality traits are not correlated with high performance. So some people will also tell you, Carl, but I'm an introvert. Introverts do not perform any higher or less than extroverts in our high performance studies worldwide, 190 countries. Introversion was not something that hurts you at all. It was, what are your habits every single day to get better and better and to serve and to grow and to produce? So yeah, part-time, full-time, age, personality traits, these aren't the things. It's what do you do each day?
Now, one of the things that you said, is interesting, the introvert, extrovert. And I know that in your analysis, you found that one of the things holding people back was this concept of persuasion. which is really another way of saying influencing somebody to take action.
Yes.
And I think that many people, this goes for any business, some of them have an immediate reflex that salesmanship is a negative thing. That if I'm selling, I'm doing something wrong. I'm trying to take from somebody or convince them for my gain.
Yes.
And, I like to use the term helpsmanship versus salesmanship. But can you relate that to what you found in your analysis and of the high-performing coaches of this aspect of persuasion?
Yeah. The good news is most Beachbody coaches have high levels of influence. And they feel like they're making a difference. They feel like they're good at creating trust and camaraderie with other people. Those things, I wish we could give that to everybody in the world. So Beachbody coaches usually already have that. They're good at making friends. They're good at being kind to people. They really feel a connection with other people. That's their heart. That's the power. What they reported not being good at is just asking and closing. So they make the friend, they do the workouts, they inspire the people, but they don't finally say, hey, do you want to be in my challenge group?
Yeah.
So it's like they really feel a connection with someone, but I also say, just follow that line of connection. If you really feel connected to somebody, if you really like them, if you really want to be of service in the world, you have to say, this is how I can help you. You can't just say, let's work out and hang out, or, hey, I like this product. It's like, hey, specifically, I care about you, and I've known you struggled in this specific way. Let me be of service to you. I know this thing over here can help you. Let me tell you exactly how it helps you. And let's have a conversation about that. That's just the natural conclusion to the conversation. So I tell people all the time, I say, your real job is have lots of those conversations and follow it to the conclusion, which is the ask and the proposal. Let me show you how to serve you. Let me get you in this challenge group. Let me tell you about this product. Let me help you to the next level. And so this group, if you're looking at my face right now, my friends, you care about people and honor that. And the natural conclusion of caring about people is actually being of service to people. And the only way to be of service to people is to know what you got and tell them about it. So I say, follow your heart, care for them, and then, yes, be of service.
So that's amazing. And I wish that, if people are taking notes or listen to this again, that this concept of being of service, I think, is the ultimate permission slip to have a conversation with somebody about the idea of joining a challenge group. If that is your intent, if you open the door with that intent and that intent alone, look, while we're talking about Success Club, if the intent is not, I need to get into Success Club, but I need to be of service to 3 people, which means I need to be of service to help 3 people open the door to a healthy transformation. And I know I have confidence in the fact that if I'm asking them to do that and nudging them, coaching them, like a great coach will do to bring something better out of you. That's what a great coach does, is lifts you up to a higher level. And by doing that, I am being of service to you. And if it doesn't work, if we're not a good connection, people can get their money back. And if people can write those things down, like that's what I would look at on the index card when I wake up. My intent is to be of service to people, and my job as a coach is to influence them into a healthier lifestyle. And if it doesn't work, they get their money back. And that is
it's a golden ticket.
It's your golden ticket.
And I love it because what you're saying, look, hey, the data backs it up with your groups. The highest performing coaches, these are the folks who earn the most, they also say by leaps and bounds that they're making a greater difference. It's the ones who aren't actually selling who feel like they're not making a difference. It's the ones who don't feel like they're persuading who don't feel like they're making a difference. It's what I tell Beachbody coaches all the time. I say, hey, look, you don't have a product program. right? You can't say, well, the product doesn't work, because you see thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of examples of extraordinary cases of transformation, and coaches were that themselves. So now the real question is, okay, if the products work, now we got to do the work. And that work, we often say, oh, it's this task, it's this call. It's like, no, the work is the service. The work is making the difference, because if you make a greater difference, you'll make a greater income in this business. And that's what's really exciting about it, is like it showed the highest performers, they're happier. They're making a greater difference because they are getting the closes. They are getting the people to transform by giving them the products and the programs.
Yeah. Now, one of the things I think that is also important is that it's not just about that opening transaction. You need to see that through. You've created a trust. You created basically a contract with somebody to help them see it through. Doesn't mean that you need to be their fitness trainer or their nutrition expert. Your job is to use that app on your phone to hold them accountable to, did they drink their shake? Did they do their workout? And that's what we have the Challenge Tracker app for. And that's one area that I see coaches find an unsustainable part of the business when all they're doing is trying to transact. And if all they're doing is trying to transact, then what they're basically doing is sending out an army of people who haven't had great results and who frankly might resent the process because they feel like they got tricked, because that coach didn't stay there with them to hold them accountable. Doesn't mean you need to do the work for them. It just means that you do need to stay in it with people, which is why, by the way, 1 by 3 by 5. This is not 1 by 30 by 5. Yeah. I'm not asking coaches to help 30 people a month. Some of them do, but I want people to imagine how scalable the business is if everybody who's a coach just helps 3. Yeah. And so if every coach just helps 3, those 3 people are going to have such more incredible results. And if they get 5 people to just help 3, those people are going to have incredible results. Rather than trying to save the world every month, you're going to help people, and more people are going to make more income. Like, it's this beautiful perpetual snowball of productivity and people helping people that can be so powerful.
Yeah, and I love what you said, that it's not about trying to save the world. We found that the same thing in the high performance study, 190 countries, over 2 million data points. What was so fascinating when I talked to the top 300 high performers worldwide on the phone, structured psychological interviews, it was rare that they were trying to say, I'm trying to save the world. We hear that all the time on social media now, make a difference to the whole world, change the world. But most of them actually were trying to help a very small group of people. That's why I love 1 by 3 by 5. Most high performers are thinking of doing something, being extraordinary for their family, for 1 or 2 or 3 clients. They're really focused and they can see the person they're trying to help. The second thing I think that's really important that you're saying, and when you think about this 1 by 3 by 5, a lot of people think, well, they're going to have to talk to 700 people to make this happen. And I just tell you, if you're going to write something down, write this one piece down. It's the follow-up factor. What I found with a lot of Beachbody folks who felt like they didn't have a lot of persuasion, they were talking to so many people once. And here, let me give you my example. I'm a different type of coach. I'm a high-performance coach. And when I began my career, I remember I would sit down with people. I'd do like a free session with them, and then I'd try to close them to like become a client. And if they said no, I would go home, and my response to the no was to be so rejected that I wouldn't do anything the rest of the day. So first I had to change response. My game in my mind was, every time I get a no, I will not stop, and I won't finish the day until I get a yes. So it wasn't that I would always get yeses that day, but I would work until that was the assumption. I'm going to get that yes that day. But here's the second thing that made the difference in my career, and I see it with so many of the top leaders in Beachbody. When I do get the no, I consider it with that person, that's the obvious and the first no. So here's what happened for me in my coaching career. I would coach them that first session. They would say, no, Brendon. On Monday, I'd email them anyway. And I'd say, hey, I hope you have a really great week this week. I know you're trying to improve your life. Here's 3 things you can do to have a better week. Now, this is someone who just said no to me last week. And then 2 weeks later, I would write them and say, hey, I just saw this really cool workout, or I just saw this really cool thing, or I just saw this. I thought you'd enjoy it. Hey, you know, if you ever need any help, you know that I'm here. A week later, I would say, hey, I know, I just learned this new tip. It's really great. Try this. If you ever need anything, I'm here. And I would just stay in the game. Every first of the month, everybody that I talked to, I would email them personally, everybody I talked to that month. And I would say, short little email, I'd say, hey, it's the first of the month. I hope you're having a great month. Measure yourself on these 3 things to get better this month and go. I know you didn't decide to work with me, but I want you to know there's someone out here in this world cheering you on. And on the first of the month, there is someone out here thinking of you. I want to see you succeed. I hope you have a great month. And I would do that over and over and over, even to the people who said no. So some people hear this and they get in this business, they think they're gonna have to talk to 700 people. I'm like, you know what? Talk to a couple, but follow up. Stay in the game with them. Keep giving them value. Keep caring for them. And one day they finally go, you know what? How do I work with you more? You know, and they see your example of you using the products, you using the program, and they keep seeing you as the example, as the role model. And you keep in touch with them. As they see you as the example, using the product, using the programs, demonstrate it, and you keep in touch, at some point, more of them come on board. So I always tell people, this 1x3x5, I think it's genius, Carl, because it is not something that is requiring people to go talk to thousands of people or to change the world. It is care enough for these folks and stay in touch with these folks that they become part of this 3x5. And it's doable.
Yeah, well, that is so fantastic, because I think many of the people watching this are intimidated by feeling like they need to be performers on Instagram stories and Facebook Live. And there's no doubt about it. We do espouse and recommend being the proof the product works. Meaning, you know, we've got over 100,000 people doing 80-day obsession right now. There it is, right there in the middle. So over 100,000 people doing that every day. So this is a concept that is trending. This extreme workout for 80 days. People are doing their workouts. They're drinking their Shakeology. They're showing it on Instagram. But what I think people lose sight of, coaches lose sight of, is that is not necessarily doing the business. That's one of the vital behaviors. But the other vital behavior, after, you know, you're constantly inviting people to be a part of your team, but it's behind the scenes. Nobody knows you do that. Nobody's seeing you do that follow-up. That is the invisible late night, you know, working in your underwear kind of work that sets apart the glory seekers from the glory achievers, because you get it done. And you're not looking for applause. You're looking for connection. And I think that is such a great tip, man. I just want to stop recording right now, almost now. But no, I don't.
Here's something they can write down, Carl. This is like, just write it down. When you hear a no, is your response to go into consumption mode? You know, take in social media, see what everybody else is doing. I must be doing something wrong. Let me consume. Or is your response to go into connection mode? And some people are in consumption mode all day. Yeah. And some people are in connection mode all day. And the productivity difference is making sure you're decreasing how much you're consuming and increasing how much you're actually doing in your connections. And it's so important. I mean, for so many people, you know, even if you got 100 people on Instagram, but you're DMing them, direct messaging them, keeping in touch, cheering them on. Pulling people into your world is so easy in a world where everyone else is distracted. When you are there and consistent with people, cheering them on more often than anybody else is, it's a game changer. You don't need tens of thousands of followers for that. You need 10 minutes a day to reach out to the people you already talk to, you already connect to, and cheer them on some more. And you cheer them on and you demonstrate, you're going to win.
Do you know what a big deal that is? Do you know how many people are watching right now who, you know, they might have 1,000 followers, they might have 500 followers, but they are dealing with coaches who have 50 followers. And for them, 1x3x5, for the coaches in this group, who some of them take it for granted that they'll get Success Club, but to imagine that they could help those 5 achieve Success Club with just their 25 followers or just their 50 followers, that excuse is no longer valid or relevant,
right,
is a mind blower.
It is. It is.
Okay. Look,
and I'll share one other one with you, Carl, because what most people do, and this, I just read this literally 3 days ago, that 86% of people who have one of these, a smartphone in the US, 86% of people who own a smartphone, the first action in the morning is to turn over, grab it, and go, you know, and start consuming emails, social media. That's their first thing in the morning, is to consume. And what we found out, this is a famous thing from High Performance Academy like 10 years ago, one of the things we found out is, if we can make sure you don't check email in the first 60 minutes of the day, you will increase your productivity by 30% over the course of a week.
Wow.
So you're 30% more effective in 7 days if you don't check your email in the first 60 minutes. Because I tell people all the time, the inbox, it's nothing but, you know, a convenient organizing system of other people's agendas. And what happens is everyone's checking into everybody else's agenda. I'm checking into their Instagram. I'm checking into their email. I'm checking in instead of going strategically, what should I do today? And if you just spent a little bit more time each morning thinking about, okay, what can I be excited about today? What can I do specifically to move my business forward this day? And get to work at those things in the first hour or two, and don't consume. Just the first hour or two, do your connection, do your reaching out, do your follow-up. In the first 2 hours, just set a rule. In the first 2 hours, all I do is connect and follow up. That's all I do in the first 2 hours. No consumption. Like, hey, look, if at lunch you want to eat this thing, eat it. But just like 2 hours every morning, I'm going to work. If I drop the kids off, boom, 2 hours of work. And I know some people say, well, I can't do it 2 hours. Can I do it on the side? Or I go, that's fine.
Yeah.
But listen, 2 hours of focused work, even if it's 30 minutes here or 30 minutes there, 30 minutes there, of more follow-up and connection each day. Invite, follow-up, invite, follow-up, invite, follow-up. That's going to transform somebody's life. And I know we all want to say, well, once I figure out Facebook ads, I'll make millions of dollars. Or once I figure out this, I'm like, no. It's so simple. Produce each day the things that matter. In Beachbody, what that means to us, we invite, we follow up, we role model. It's like, if we just do that for 2 hours a day, you can transform your family's income forever. Now, I just feel like too many people get stuck in consumption and not connection. I'm sure you have lots of other tips on that too.
Well, look, I don't want to drag this out, and I also want to make this video digestible for the coaches in the group. So I want to just sort of underscore or highlight what you just said, because I'm going to turn it around a little bit. Because what you said is, rather than being at the effect of your inbox, meaning you pick it up, who contacted me, blah, blah, blah. Now, there could be some very important stuff there. There could even be people who are ready to get started right there.
That's right.
But I think the point is that you're not letting the tail wag you, the dog.
Yes.
The first thing to do, because those leads are still going to be there. The people who got back to you overnight and said, I'm ready to start, they're going to be there after an hour or two. So the first thing to do is you be the dog wagging the tail. You
organize your day
out there.
Yes, organize your day. And when you do open your inbox, the first thing you do is you check for the people who you're waiting a decision on. But the second thing you do is you do your outbounds. Don't do everything else. Do the outbound. So our point in what we learned is organize the day.
Yeah.
When you do get to the email, you do your outbounds. You use email as the tool for you to do business, not to read Nordstrom's latest newsletter.
Yes. Yeah. But I love that thing. So you are fantastic. Now I want to give everybody the exciting news from this. We have a special announcement for this group, and actually for everybody who's participating in Team Cup, and I think it's everybody who's participating in Team Cup. Anyway, I'm sure there'll be an FAQ about it. But we are going to give a copy of Brendon's book, High Performance Habits, to, there it is, you got it, High Performance Habits, fantastic book, bestseller. We're giving that to everybody who has helped 2 people by the end of the day, February 12th. So that's a week from today. So that is help 2 people for the month of February. So if you have one, you just need one more. If you don't have anybody, get 2 this week. But we are then going to send you a copy of that book free. I looked online. I think that book costs like $17, $18 in hardcover. It's fantastic books, worth it. And so I am buying that book for anybody who helps 2 people. And that's the confidence. I go back to what we said at the beginning of the call. Your job here is not to sell people. Your job is to help people. Connect them with the right thing, and you've got the confidence that if they don't have a good ride with it, they get their money back in 30 days. But I need your courage. I need your action. I need the right action, and that's what the essence of this group is going to be about. Sharing those actions, sharing those things that we've identified as being effective to help people. And this business will be unstoppable. So, Brendon, that's about all I had planned for us and about all the time I wanted to take of yours. But I'm so grateful for you jumping on this first recording here for our new group.
It's my pleasure, my friend. I love what you all doing, and I'm a huge fan of this 1x3x5. So brilliant, brilliant idea, and I hope everybody goes and executes on this one.
All right, man. Well, thanks again. Look forward to giving away hopefully thousands of your books. And now, if anybody's more interested in plugging into your productivity seminars and workshops, where do they find out more information on what you're doing?
Yeah, they can just go to Brendon.com or follow me on social media, Brendon Burchard. You'll find me. And you know what? I didn't say this earlier, but Carl, what we'll do is we'll also get those folks a free version of the audiobook.
Oh, wow.
So we'll ship them the book, but if they also are listeners, we'll get them the free audiobook. That's $40. We'll
wow.
Just get them for free, because it's like, hey, however you want to consume this book or this intel, we got it there for you.
That is mind blown. All right. Thank you so much, Brendon. Thanks for everybody for being in this group. By the way, I do want to remind everybody, the price of being in this group is a summit ticket, whether you're going to Summit or not. But you're going to get literally thousands of dollars of this kind of advice over the course of the next 3 or 4 months, regardless of whether you're going to Summit or not. But to show that you're serious, that you have intent, we did want to represent the value of being in this group by making it have some sort of hurdle to get in, some barrier of entry that says, I'm serious about this, which means that your team can still join. And we'll be adding anybody who buys or giving an invitation to anybody who buys a Summit ticket. So thanks again, Brendon. And now we're going to get off to work. Thanks so much, buddy.
You bet.